Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now a raise of emoji hands in the comments. Have you ever gone to that weird store that sells those dehydrated bugs in cardboard boxes that had dry seasonings on them? Now who's tried them? If you thought those were weird, you're in for a hard lesson today. We're going to talk about the 10 weirdest foods in the world.
You rock lobster?
Starting at number 10 is giant rainbow lobster. Now you may be thinking, oh yeah, lobster, I eat that all the time. Yeah, sure, you do, but not the giant rainbow lobster. It's considered a delicacy in Asian countries. It also is one of the most expensive things to eat in the world, costing you $600. This lobster isn't anything to mess around with. It earned its name for the right reasons. These lobsters are seriously huge and have a beautiful color on them.
Poison, tasty fish.
Following the giant rainbow lobster is number 9, blowfish. Blowfish is indeed poisonous to consume. However, if it's prepared correctly, it can be safe to eat. Only properly trained chefs are allowed to prepare blowfish that is to be consumed. Blowfish contains a toxin called tetrodotoxin. It is so deadly because the amount of poison in one of the fish can kill 30 men. That's insane. I don't know about you guys, but unless this fish has some magical properties, I don't think I'd want to risk it. Even scarier is that some of these professional chefs decide to leave some of the poison in the fish on purpose. It gives a tingling sensation to your tongue and mouth. I'm sorry, but I think I'll pass. Especially since there's no antidote for the poison found in the blowfish. Sounds like a risk I'm not willing to take. Number 8 is snake soup. Now, maybe this isn't super unexpected to some, but others, especially those with a fear of snakes, it would be. Snake soup is a traditional dish for those in China, Hong Kong, Vietnam, and Indonesia. The soup typically contains 2 different types of snakes as the main ingredients. It is slightly sweet and is typically topped with shredded lemon leaves and fried dough. Snake soup has been thought of as a delicacy in the Chinese culture for over 2,000 years. Consuming this snake soup has become a huge part of their culture and is considered of high status, as well as bravery and respect. To prepare the snake, the flesh is stripped off the scales and is then shredded and cooked with a multitude of different ingredients to give it a good flavor profile. The mixture is cooked for over 6 hours and turned into a thick soup seasoned with salt, pepper, and dark soy to taste. Snake meat is typically a light pink color and tastes much richer and is chewier than your typical fish. This dish is so popular in China because it's believed to have medical properties. It is said to increase nourishment in the body and blood, improve skin quality, and can increase one's energy levels. It sounds unappealing to me, but considering the huge history the dish has in a country like China, I can understand why it's still consumed. Number 7 is Italy's rotten cheese that contains maggots. Yes, we indeed said maggots. The dehydrated bugs in the boxes at that store from your childhood are very different to me than live maggot cheese. But hey, to each their own. This cheese is widely known and loved by many in the area of Sardinia, where it is considered a delicacy. This cheese is called casu marzu. The cheese has been consumed for many years. However, it was once illegal. It is said it was discovered by a poor man who noticed his cheese had gone bad and decided to try it anyway. Honestly, it makes perfect sense considering cheeses are all aged to some degree. The cheese is created by removing the top crust of pecorino cheese and holes are put in it. This allows the cheese fly, called Pyophila casei, to enter the holes and lay their eggs. It is then stored for 3 months in a cool and dark place so that the eggs can hatch. The larvae then feed on the cheese, digest it, and then pass it on, which creates the soft and creamy texture the cheese is so famous for. So yeah, they're eating cheese, but like poopy cheese. Anyway, the cheese is typically eaten with a slice of flatbread and then paired with red wine. I'm sure many people rely on red wine to help wash down the cheese. It's said the flavor is very strong, as an aged cheese would be, as well as rich and sour, leaving an aftertaste that lasts for hours. If you're squeamish, I don't recommend trying this cheese dish. The maggots are nicknamed cheese skippers because they're known for leaping when they're disturbed. So when you go to eat the cheese, they suggest you hold the bread with the cheese side down so that the maggots don't jump onto your face. You can also sandwich the cheese between 2 slices, but then eat in bite-sized pieces. I think I'd be too distracted about the maggots jumping on me to get to even worry about how they'd feel in my mouth. Speaking of things moving in your mouth, let's move on to number 6, squid sashimi. If you're unsure what sashimi is, it's a delicacy of typically raw fish or meat sliced thinly and is usually eaten dipped in soy sauce. Kind of similar to your typical sushi, but with fewer ingredients. The main components of sashimi are the meats. When making squid sashimi, the squid's tentacles are detached from the body and then sliced into thin strips. This, however, doesn't stop the tentacles from moving or the suction cups from working. This being said, you have to be very careful when you do eat it because it can be a choking hazard. It is said that you cannot be drunk while eating it because it makes it more likely you'll choke. It is a dish that needs to be thoroughly chewed and given attention when eating. It's kind of cool how intricate a squid or octopus's nervous system is that their tentacles still move even after being detached from the body. A similar reaction occurs in a snake when they cut and prepare it as well. I think the squirming of the tentacles would be too much for me to even be able to chew it. This is not an easy dish to try. Coming in at number 5 is a shark. Eating shark is not only unusual, but can also be very unsafe. In a report done by CNN, it was found that sharks can contain unhealthy levels of mercury. These high levels can cause blindness or even death. It is not something you want to mess with. This doesn't scare Iceland though. They have a national dish called hakara, or in short, hakara. This is simply put rotten shark. Shark is bad enough, let alone rotten shark. I could not do it. But for Iceland residents, it's dear to their hearts. The smell is close to ammonia, and the flavor isn't that much better. But I mean, come on, it is rotten shark. I don't think anyone would expect it to have a pleasant scent or flavor. Like we mentioned earlier, it's not advised that you eat shark due to the high mercury levels. However, Greenland shark is known to be toxic to humans. They contain a chemical in their body that is similar to antifreeze. It helps the shark in the cold Arctic waters. It keeps them alive, but in just a few bites would kill a human. Determined though to keep this as a food source option, Icelanders found a way to make the shark safe to eat. This technique ages back to the Viking times, but they still use it today. Hey, it still works, right? This process is not a quick one though. The shark is beheaded and the body is laid into a shallow grave. The shark is then covered with sand, stones, and gravel. The pressure from these elements helps to push out the liquids in the body. The shark then sits and decomposes in those liquids. It pretty much marinates in bleach like urine for 6 to 12 weeks. After that process is complete, the meat is cut into pieces and hung to dry. Once the meat develops a crusty brown layer and develops a specific smell, they know the meat is ready to eat. They cut off the brown crusty layer and serve it. Yummy? I don't know about that. Number 4 is Mexican caviar. Well, knockoff caviar anyway, aka Eskimos or ant larvae. They're given the nickname of Mexican caviar because of the similarities they have to fish eggs. They're small, white, or translucent and egg-shaped. These larvae are found in the roots of cacti. You have to ensure you leave some larvae behind enough to ensure they can colonize and produce the larvae again the next year. They're typically cooked with onions and chili and served in tacos or salsa. They're said to be soft and squishy in texture, something similar to cottage cheese. They're considered a more traditional or celebratory dish during the Easter holiday because the larvae are only available from February to May.
Are you crazy for bringing that in the house? That's the most dangerous scorpion in the world!
Speaking of bugs, another unusual food choice is scorpions, which are commonly consumed in China. With that being said, number 3 are scorpions. Scorpions are common street food in China. They're often eaten as snacks, typically served fried and on a stick for easy eating. However, they can also be grilled or roasted as well, or even alive, which, hey, wouldn't be for me, but maybe you're into that. Whatever gives you the most thrill. Scorpions have become such a common thing in China, they do not think of them as a thrill to eat as much as we probably do. They are also thought to have a lot of health benefits as well, which may or may not be true. What is true though is that bugs, not necessarily just scorpions, are more pound for pound in benefits compared to meat. They contain more protein, fat, and carbohydrates. This could play a huge role in the fight against hunger across the globe. Coming in at number 2 is Rocky Mountain oysters. Oh yum, oysters. That's not too weird. Well, maybe if they were actually oysters. I'm not sure if Canadians named the dish this way to help cover up the idea of eating bull's testicles or not, but I'm sure that this has helped some with travelers ordering and eating it for the first time. This dish is considered a delicacy in Canada, a fan favorite for sure. The testicles are usually stuffed and then deep fried. This is one dish that the appearance wouldn't bother me as much personally. They'd resemble a stuffed and fried mushroom. If a bowl of Rocky Mountain oysters and a plate of squid sashimi were placed in front of me, I'd most definitely choose the bull testicles unknowingly. Last but not least is number 1, which is a whole sheep's head. We saved the weirdest for last. This is honestly a fairly common practice though in multiple different countries. For instance, in South Africa, the sheep's heads are called smileys because the sheep die smiling. The dish became popular in Iceland as well because it became a common practice to use as much of the animal as possible. The whole head is edible. The eyes, brain, every part of the head is consumed to ensure nothing is wasted. We hope these 10 weird foods didn't gross you out too much. Let's be honest, no one is eating most of these for their nutritional value. They're doing it for the risk, the fear factor, or the rush of adrenaline. I hope you liked today's video. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up. It helps the channel grow. If you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell icon so you get notified every time we upload a brand new video. Until then, bon appetit!